Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are at 157 subscribers, so we went up quite a bit from yesterday. Thank you all so much for the support. It really does mean a lot. Our last video did very well, about 312 views in the first day, which means we are doing better. And if you really wanted to help out the channel, please check out the Discord. We have a bunch of people in there now. Really great. I'm going to be leaving it in the description box below, so check it out. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. It does mean a lot. I have a goal for myself now, 270 subscribers by election day. Probably not going to happen, but if everyone who watched this video did hit that subscribe, we would eventually hit that goal. So please, any way you could support the channel, even by liking, really does make a difference for me. But going to the topic of today's video, it is Donald Trump's best pathway to victory. And Republicans likely wouldn't disagree with me that Joe Biden is going to overperform Hillary Clinton's margins in a lot of states. He's likely to do better in states like Colorado and Virginia, where he's more of that corporate candidate, more likable to, or at least palatable. And I think that's something that goes across the entire country, is that Joe Biden is objectively a more palatable candidate than someone like Hillary Clinton, who is very disliked. His favorable rating is also much higher than someone like Hillary Clinton's. At this point, however, I filled out all of Joe Biden's safe states, 188, including Maine's 1st District, as well as Donald Trump's. Now, the important thing to note is in Donald Trump's best case, where he is turning out his voters, he is mobilizing his voters, and really reaches that pathway that he needs to win, that narrow pathway. All of these states, Mississippi, Missouri, South Carolina, Indiana, Montana, they have to be safe. They must be safe, because otherwise he lost too much support. And in states that were just decided by less than a point in the Midwest, it's really hard to see him coming back and winning a state like Pennsylvania, when a state like Missouri is a likely margin. It just the math doesn't work. So I'm going to be giving these as safe if Donald Trump were to reach that pathway that I'm talking about. So that pathway would also include a state like Texas. At this point, if Donald Trump were to reach what he needs to mobilize his supporters on election day, Texas would probably be likely around 5 to 6%. It'll be close, but it would still be in that likely category. And we will see Joe Biden still, if Donald Trump were to be able to narrowly win this election, Joe Biden will still overperform in Texas, even Hillary Clinton's numbers. Donald Trump is not necessarily so popular in the South, given that he only won Texas by single digits, and Joe Biden is likely to come closer. If Donald Trump reaches that pathway that I'm discussing, this will probably be likely, as well as some of these other states. Georgia would probably have to be lean, as well as states like Ohio and Iowa will have to lean to Donald Trump at this point. Right now, polling suggests that these might be tilt states, or even Joe Biden potentially upsetting and winning a state like Georgia, which is not impossible. However, at this point, Donald Trump would have to win these as lean margins. He carried these pretty comfortably in 2016. I do expect him to win these, even if he loses the election. But he would have to carry these states by lean margins. And additionally, in the lean column, I would have to put North Carolina as well. North Carolina would have to be lean. He did carry this by around 4%, similar to Arizona, which both look fairly good for Joe Biden at this point in terms of mail-in voting. However, really, Donald Trump cannot lose that much support in these states. Hillary Clinton, who was not popular, came very close in some of these states. Again, Ohio and Iowa were not close for Hillary Clinton, but North Carolina and Georgia were quite close. So Donald Trump must carry these by lean or potentially even likely margins to compete with Joe Biden in a lot of Rust Belt states. Moving forward as well, I did give Florida in my last prediction to Donald Trump. Again, it's going to be extremely close, but a new poll that actually came out today did have Trump up by 2 in the state of Florida. If he were to win it, he'd probably win it by under a percentage point, likely to do worse than he did in 2016, which was around 1.5 points in the state. So at this point, Florida will be tilting in his column. He'll be up at 247 electoral votes, and we have yet to characterize Joe Biden's likely and lean states. So because this is Donald Trump's best path, I'm not going to spend too much time discussing the less important states. Colorado will be likely for Joe Biden. Everyone knows how these states are going to vote. Virginia as well will be likely. Maine at large will be likely. And Minnesota will be lean, and Nevada will be lean. Again, these states are going to vote for Joe Biden, regardless if they're tilt, lean, or likely margins. Hillary Clinton carried them, including New Hampshire as well. Hillary Clinton carried them. No conceivable way for Donald Trump to come up on top here. So again, now we come into Nebraska's 2nd district. If Joe Biden were to win, or I'm sorry, if Donald Trump were to reach his pathway, again, this is a district that he did carry in 2016 narrowly. I do expect him to carry by a tilt margin in this district if he were to come out on top. And similarly, I think he will overperform Nebraska's numbers in a district like Maine's 2nd. I'm going to be giving that as lean as well. Again, he can't lose that much support. In many cases, he might have to win this by likely. He might have to win Nebraska's 2nd by a lean. Ohio and Iowa might have to be likely. And a new poll actually had Donald Trump up by 7 in Iowa, which is a likely margin. And as we see the race naturally tighten, we will see Donald Trump begin to mobilize more support. Polls have been tightening, but Joe Biden is still leading in a lot of swing states. So what it really comes to now is polling and the potential for Donald Trump to come very close in these states. In a state like Pennsylvania, which at this point both campaigns working very, very hard to reach or at least to win the state of Pennsylvania at this point, Joe Biden has been leading. But again, he's leading narrowly. It's by around 4 to 5% in the state of Pennsylvania. And that's closer than Michigan and Wisconsin. Some polls have had Michigan, Joe Biden up by double digits in Michigan. And Wisconsin at this point looks like it's a +8 margin for Joe Biden. I don't see him winning by 8 points in Wisconsin. But again, Wisconsin and Michigan are looking the best for Joe Biden at this point. And again, Donald Trump doesn't need these states. If Wisconsin goes to Joe Biden as well as Michigan, we bump up Joe Biden to 258 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 249. So yes, Joe Biden does take the lead here. But again, the 2 states that are left are 2 states that did vote for Donald Trump. In fact, the entire Rust Belt did vote for Donald Trump. However, he was able to carry Arizona by around 3.5 points. And I think that his best pathway to victory at this point is through the states of Arizona as well as the states of Pennsylvania. Absolutely critical states. And again, we're likely to see Donald Trump actually leading in these states on Election Day because of the fact that the mail-in votes are not going to be processed in a state like Pennsylvania until after the Election Day votes are counted, meaning that the Election Day votes come first, and that's largely a Republican constituency. So again, Donald Trump, if he's able to turn out his voters in Western Pennsylvania and start to eat into those suburbs again, I do think that Joe Biden at this point is the favorite to win the state of Pennsylvania because of mail-in voting. Mail-in voting looks excellent for Joe Biden in the state of Pennsylvania. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to see Donald Trump leading in Pennsylvania and Arizona because the Election Day votes are going to be counted first versus states like Michigan, Wisconsin, where that's not the case. Personally, in my prediction, I would give both of these states to Joe Biden, probably as leans. But Donald Trump must win these as tilt margins to have any chance at victory. He cannot lose a significant portion of his base if he wants any chance of winning this election. And we already see a lot of Obama Trump voters that, a lot of people have been talking about how there are these Obama Trump voters. They voted for Obama twice. They flipped to Donald Trump. They liked his message. He had a convincing message that he ran on. However, now they're starting to realize that, again, Donald Trump is running on that same message. He doesn't necessarily have a vision for the future, and that's not trying to be biased against Donald Trump. In saying that, all I'm saying is that Donald Trump does not have the same vision that could excite voters the same way that it did in 2016. Again, he was talking about bringing back jobs in states like Pennsylvania, protecting fracking against Joe Biden, which again is a good argument. But at this point, most voters made up their mind. And we already see about 95 million votes cast nationally. Again, it's going to be heavily leaning towards Joe Biden, the mail-in voting. And again, Election Day turnout will likely lean toward Donald Trump. But he has to make sure that he runs fairly competitive in mail-in voting numbers against Joe Biden. And at this point, Pennsylvania not looking great for Donald Trump. So in fact, if we were to essentially give Pennsylvania to Joe Biden at this point, a state like Michigan as well could put Donald Trump over the line. And that's very important. So at this point, I would say Michigan and Pennsylvania are Donald Trump's best pathways, even though Wisconsin, again, voted to the right of these two states in 2016, I do think that Donald Trump has the best chance at winning a state like Michigan or a state like Pennsylvania at this point. Again, both would get him there, but that also relies on the fact that he's winning Arizona, he's winning Iowa, Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, even Texas, where Joe Biden is competitive. Joe Biden is competitive in all of these states. Again, Joe Biden winning the state of Florida could shut Donald Trump down right there. He would only need to carry one Rust Belt state, not even Pennsylvania. He would only need Wisconsin in that scenario. So again, this is everything going right for Donald Trump. A perfect storm, like we saw in 2016. And it's just not likely to happen at this point. But if it were to happen, these would be the margins and these would be the states. And Donald Trump's best case scenario would be winning through Michigan or winning through Pennsylvania. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. The link to my Discord will also be in the description box below. Consider subscribing as well for future content. And I'll see you in the next one.